This just keeps getting worse for Phoenix Suns fans as we just saw a disappointing loss. And even with the return of Bradley Beal and a late game comeback by Kevin Durant, we see the Suns stumble into another injury as the bug does not want to leave Phoenix. So we see Devin Booker suffer an ankle injury early on and not return in the second half. So, how is this going to affect Mike Budenholzer's offense? How is it going to affect the direction of the front office and their pursuits of some players? We're going to be breaking down all of that and more on this episode of Suns Digest. I'm Bruce Veliz. But without further ado, let's dive into the video at hand. Make sure to grab a snack. Like I said in the introduction, this is just frustrating for Suns fans. There's a multiple things that we need to discuss upon following this performance, not only just in the utter display from what we saw the Suns put out there on the basketball court, but from what we saw in the injury news as well. So let's get into it without further ado. So if we want to look at the updates here, we can obviously go over this game versus the Pacers. It was a game with no defense. We'll get into that in a little bit here. It was just an offensive gauntlet between both teams going back and forth. Suns struggled offensively here tonight, tried to compete with the Pacers. We're able to compete with them a little bit, but defensively, I mean, we're just absolutely incomparable. And his starting lineup with the three guards running with Tyus Booker, Beal, Durant just isn't really working with Yusuf Nurkic, and there are going to be some changes that are going to be coming in, at least I see in the future. If we want to look at the Suns roster tonight, like I mentioned, Kevin Durant absolutely went off, started electrifying in the fourth quarter. Ryan Dunn looked efficient on the defensive side. Booker, in the time he was playing for the Suns, came out hot. What had first 12 points in the first quarter was solid for this Suns team. But after that, unfortunately, they just didn't have enough firepower offensively to compete with this Pacers team. And defensively, like I mentioned, was just a disaster case. As we mentioned with this Suns team, it just keeps and keeps on repeating with this story. And we'll get into it in a little bit later on as well. Yusuf Nurkic, I was recording a video for the other channel I work on, Digest Media, on the Celtics, and I came back to see that Yusuf Nurkic had caught a pass crashing to the rim with nobody in the paint, and he absolutely just lost the ball going up for a dunk. So that's what the story of tonight's show is. Absolute frustration, utter debacle from the Phoenix Suns. Laziness on the defensive side. No hustle, no grit, no grind, no effort to want to show or care on the defensive side. And it's been clearly noticed by the fans as well as on social media. It is being taken as an outrage. And I am in one of those fan bases as well where we are allowed to speak like this. We are allowed to voice our concerns, and it is overwhelming in Phoenix. Like I mentioned, the Pacers are a struggling team. They are good offensively, but this Phoenix Suns team should have been able to match them offensively, even without Devin Booker in this second half, and should have been able to stay in arm's length. And unfortunately for the Suns, they ran into a lot of problems with this squad. But like I mentioned, we want to go over some more frustrating things, as I mentioned in the previous, as one of the stars for this Suns team got injured once again. And like I said, ladies and gentlemen, it's just piling into the issues that this Suns team has been running into as we have seen the injury bug been here. As I said on Twitter, you got to be kidding me. When will this injury bug leave? As we saw from Dwayne ranking from the first report that Devin Booker was not on the Suns bench. Morris is in the game with Allen O'Neal, Durant, and Dunn, and this was the first notion of this. And we saw, obviously, Amanda Plugard tweet out throughout the game that Devin Booker, groin tightness, will not return to the contest. And this has been the story for Phoenix Suns fans all throughout the entirety of the year is can they stay healthy? If they can stay healthy, they can win. And we have seen that with Durant. We've seen that with Booker. We've seen that with Beal. We've even seen it just with Durant in the lineup. The Suns excelling with having his expertise as he has been the MVP-like player for this team this year. But like I have mentioned, unfortunately, now the Suns are just running into more and more issues with the injury bug. So let me know what you guys think on the initial game reaction, game breakdown here. But as we dive into this a little bit more, we're going to be looking at the issues as there are plenty of issues here. And I should have specified that as there's not one main issue, but there are a plenty full of issues with the Suns roster. We've kind of already gone over them and kind of already peeked at them. But like I said, the injury bug has remained here in Phoenix, like I said. This entire season, from including last year, we have seen these Suns beatered and battered with injuries. Starting off this year, we had Yusuf Nurkic dealing with his left middle finger in the preseason. We had Grayson Allen dealing with some injuries as well. They were both brought back. Then after that, Durant goes down with the calf. Allen is dealing with personal problems. He has to get a bench, which is fine. But then he comes back. He deals with some ankle issues. Then he runs into those ankle issues again. Then we see Bradley Beal dealing with a calf issue. Then he gets brought back. Then he's dealing with right knee soreness and swelling in his knee. So the Suns reevaluate him. We've had players like Ryan Dunn been out with ankles. We've seen multiple players on this roster have to sit out. And now Devin Booker is the next one added to this list. And if we want to look at this graphic here, one that I found that I think does perfect explanation for all of this. I want to give this person credit. Phoenix Fan AZ, as they have highlighted the Suns' big three so far. And as you can see from this, game 2, Beal got hurt. Game 4, Beal returns. Game 4, Beal out. Game 6, Beal returns. Game 9, Durant hurt. Game 11, Beal returns. Game 11, Beal hurt. Durant returns. Beal returns. Game 17, Beal hurt. Game 19, Beal returns. Durant hurt. Durant returns. Beal hurt. Beal returns. Now Booker is hurt. What is this curse? What do we deserve to get this brought upon us? It is absolutely ridiculous that the Suns have to deal with this many injuries because it has affected them so severely. Because in this Western Conference, a tough and well battered one, this Suns team could be competing against some of the best if they were able to stay healthy and be able to evaluate the moves that they want to make. And we know that the Suns team wants to wait 10 and 15 games to make these moves, make these decisions. But I think the answers have already been ringing and alarming for Matt Ishbia, James Jones, Mike Budenholzer on what this team needs. There are players that do not play, specifically Bol, who a lot of fans, including myself, think they deserve minutes and an opportunity, especially when the Suns are getting blown out. 2, there are players that necessarily don't fit our team, and we're running a 3-guard offense with no primary defender in that offense, starting 5, which severely limits us against some of these other teams. And that is why the Suns have had some issues. 1, obviously the injuries, something you can't control, but obviously a big X factor for the Suns' downfall this season. But like I mentioned, there have been some other issues as well with this Suns team. Once again, like I mentioned, the defense for the Suns team has been absolutely atrocious. And we saw tonight versus the Pacers and the Suns that both of these teams displayed non-existent defense. The Suns and the Pacers had so many opportunities where it was just barbecue chicken, scoring in the paint, easily blowing by players on easy cuts to the basket on bounce passes. And that was even hilarious why to see Jusuf Nurkic miss the ball and miss the dunk when it was a perfect bounce, when it was a perfect pass into the middle of the key with no one around him. That's what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Issues like that, problems like that we need to see fixed. And Nurkic has been at the top of that list for the Suns fans since the offseason. I have been preaching it as well. I've been very nice. I've been very respectful of Jusuf Nurkic. But at this point, I don't care if you get 10 rebounds. I don't care if that's what you can bring to the Suns team. The Suns can find a center who can go out there and get 8 rebounds or even 9 rebounds, not even 10, and still be effective as Jusuf Nurkic is as a rebounder with still being a primary defender. I'm sure they could find a guy that could get 6 or 7 rebounds on average, but still be an effective rebounder for the Suns as well as Jusuf Nurkic is, while being a better defender for this team and being a better implementer in the starting 5. It is an absolute necessary thing that the Suns go out and improve from Jusuf Nurkic, and it has to be done. I don't care. I feel bad for the guy, but he's on an aging contract. He's getting older, and he does not fit in with this team. We also want to address some other issues with this Suns team and kind of look at it. Well, let's look at this tweet from John Voita. We can see that the Suns gave up 37 points in a quarter tonight. And the one thing that has been the kryptonite for the Suns this season, you ask, is that third quarter. If you want to look back, I did not have time to pick all these images, but look back. Look at these recent games without Durant, with Durant, and look at those third quarter scorings from these opponents. You want to tell me where the Suns fall off in games? It's right there in that third quarter. The Suns could be in games or be even winning games in the first half, but coming out in the third quarter, allowing 37 or 40 points in a third quarter is absolutely not allowed in an NBA league, because if you put up even 15 or 20 points, guess what? They have a 20-point lead on you going into the fourth, and on the road, that is demoralizing, and even at home, that is fearing for your fans. So you cannot allow that to happen. The Suns almost came back in this game. It was a little bit too late, but you can't even let it get to that far to where you're allowing 37 points in one quarter. Let's not mention the fact that even though Nurkic was able to get those rebounds, the Pacers were still able to outscore this team and outcompete this team. Defensively, there are some issues. Ryan Dunn was not implemented off this bench late into the game, and he would made some really impactful plays off the bench defensively, but we did not really see that from anybody else. Royce played his best. Josh Okogie tried his best. Monte tried his best, but I need to see more from some of these players that are going to be expected to make some bigger time plays. Unfortunately for Devin Booker, it's sad as he goes out. I think if he comes back in the second half, the Suns legitimately have a chance to win this game, and they're still in it. But like I said, This keeps getting worse for the Suns, and things need to change. It's not just the fact that Yusuf Nurkic is an issue. It's not the fact that the injuries are just an issue, but the defensive side of the basketball has been absolutely atrocious from the Suns from the start to this point of the year. And if the Suns want to make any moves in the Western Conference or have any hopes of making some waves in this Western Conference, like Matt Ishbia has promised the fans, they cannot have Yusuf Nurkic be the starting center, and they need to address these defensive issues. But like I said, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Let me know what you ultimately feel about this team, how you guys are feeling and representing of the Suns culture. Unfortunate loss tonight, but like I said, things need to change. And with the recent rumors around Jimmy Butler, they might get more and more intensifying over the next couple of days. So we'll let you know all the news on that. Keep you updated on everything Suns related if you do enjoy the content. So make sure to keep hitting that subscribe button and keep supporting the guys over here on Suns Digest as we are trying to get to our goal of 2,000 subscribers. But once again, you guys have been absolutely fantastic. Thank you guys so much for showing your support. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a great rest of your day and go Phoenix Suns. Peace out, everyone.